the woods this week for the Toshiba Rally, and it's a shootout involving Denis Biggerstaff and Trevor for the Northern Ireland Stages Championship. Add to that the presence of 6 World Rally cars, and you've got a forestry rallying highlight of the year. You can also win a copy of the limited edition video Tarmac Titan Bertie Fisher, which celebrates the great Fermanagh drivers' 30 years in rallying. The Mid-Antrim Motor Club's Toshiba Rally has long been the traditional finale of the Northern Ireland Stages Championship, and 2001 is no exception, as the M&E Crow Series will once again be decided between 2 drivers over 10 stages in the spectacular County Antrim forests.
We both have to finish today because there's no drop scores, and basically I can let him go on ahead. I can stay within 4 places of him. So
the likes of Woodside and McGarrity they're not registered, so if they get in between Denis and me, that still doesn't help me. I need people that's registered for the championship.
The way the championship has worked this year is no drop score because there's no room for anything to happen, so it's all good.
And what about the pace notes today, Trevor? You had a wee bit of a whoopsie and ball in the hinge.
No, I think we'll have that sorted. We'll be 100% today.
The Toshiba Rally is essentially just a clubman's event, yet the level of entry is fantastic. I've counted no less than 6 World Rally cars in the entry, and you have to go right down to number 26 before you get your first 2-wheel drive car.
I think it has to be one of the best supported rallies in Northern Ireland to date. 6 or 7, I think. It's amazing, super.
It's a 99 WRC car, quite a good car. Should be good enough for this job now.
The Group N, or out of the Showroom category entry, is equally hot.
Mervyn Hill, Stephen Whitford, myself, Raymond Johnson and Raymond Mason and Mark Woodside. It's just going to be horrific. And they've got a camera on the roof of the car here, which is a really bad place to have one.
Group N today has got 6 potential winners, and it's going to be real fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
I've just been speaking to Jim McSherry there, the championship coordinator, and he's gone through it, so even if I don't finish and Raymond wins on a count back system, I've got that, so I'm happy about that, and it obviously relieves a fair bit of pressure.
The rivalry is not in the showroom, but in the living room in the Thompson family.
I'm out driving. My eldest daughter is my co-driver. It's her first time, and then my eldest son is out with number 2 son.
Well, James, you used to sit with Alan, but now you're driving.
I did, yeah. It's going to be a new experience for me. Other side of the car today.
What, you couldn't bear sitting with him any longer?
It's great fun, but it's my turn to have a play now, I think.
And you are now co-driving for Alan.
Yeah, foolish move possibly, but we'll have to wait and see because I don't know what it's going to hold yet, but hopefully we'll stay on the road. That's the main aim.
Well, that's all you can hope for. And finally, you're sitting with James.
I am. And I'm looking forward to it.
It's straight to 3 of the toughest tests of the day as the 110-strong field heads north from Ballymena to the Parkmore, Glenariff and Slievenora forests. Last year's winner, Robert Woodside, is having his first World Rally car experience, and he is loving every second of it. Robert, whose dad is a former Circuit of Ireland rally winner, is 7 seconds quicker than the rest of the McGee Autobody Parkmore stage. That's phenomenal. Eamon Boland on his second Toshiba event is obviously getting used to loose surfaces as he posts 2nd fastest time on the opening test. The 1999 Northern Ireland champion Denis Biggerstaff, with Damien McCann on the notes, starts his title bid in good shape with 3rd fastest time in Parkmore. Remember, it was on this event that Denis was so narrowly beaten by Robin Phillips in the championship race last year. But Derek McGarrity, who's bought Morris Gass's WRC Subaru, is strangely off the pace and heading for a big scare.
Turbo went on fire in the first stage, so we dropped a lot of time there, and we started the 2nd stage obviously with the anti-lag and stuff not working on it, and the wiring looms burnt and quite a lot of stuff wasn't working on the car. So
now we've seen a lot of World Rally cars actually burnt out in recent times, so that must have been a worrying thing in the back of your mind.
A very worrying thing. Let's hope you don't see this one burned out.
In 5th, it's the fastest of the Group N runners, Stevie Whitford in the Lagan Motor Factor's Mitsubishi. Trevor Moore needs to be ahead of Denis Biggerstaff, not behind him by 3 seconds, so it's not been a good opening stage for the Newton Abbey driver. Mervyn Hill, a perennial Toshiba competitor, is back and on the pipe. Eugene Donnelly has moved into four-wheel drive with the car that Robin Phillips used to take the title last year. And we're roughing it on the roof of Richard Hogg's mascot Mitsubishi in the Parkmore stage. Richard revels on loose surfaces, but he's facing stiff opposition today from Whitford and Hill, who better than a Mavati driver on the opening test. You would not think that was possible from this trip through the trees. It's not all roses in the Woodside family. Cousin Robert may be leading, but Susie will make an early exit in the Puma.
The beautiful and barren trip through the Carraduff Forklift Slievenora Forest is opened by Davy Greer in his newly acquired WRC Toyota Corolla. This stage is the key to success or failure in the Toshiba Computers Rally. It is one of the toughest challenges in the country and requires a lot of skill and a lot of bravery. Robert Woodside does not appear to be lacking in either, and in Kenny McKinstry's latest high WRC Subaru, he is 11 seconds faster. That's almost a second a mile, but it has to be remembered that McGarrity's Impreza is not in peak health.
The plan was to just go flat out in the first stage and hopefully get a bit of a cushion then to allow us just to do what we wanted after that. And so the plan worked in the first stage and we'll have a bit of a cushion now. So.
And you're looking very relaxed.
Yeah, I'm enjoying myself.
The panic is over in the McGarrity camp, but there's not a lot of happiness, as that fire has caused a lot of damage and the car looks and is down in power. The electrics are up the left, are up the right as we can see from the indicators. Still, the former Toshiba winner will move up a place before the first service. Eamon Boland in the NVD Impreza drops a place to Derek after the stage. Still, the Wexford driver is only 5 seconds slower. Trevor Moore is in 4th place, but more importantly 4 places ahead of his championship rival. But things are not as rosy as they seem, as the runners in between are not registered in the M&E Crow Series. Eugene Donnelly is getting used to this four-wheel drive malarkey in his Bioclear Celica, and he will have moved ahead of Whitford before the first service. And Stevie is fishtailing his way in true Scandinavian style at the head of the Group N field. Followed by another fishtailer, Richard Hogg.
80 uphill.
Ever wonder how he got the name Mad Dog? Well, climb aboard for the Slievenora jumps, as Mark Hanna coolly calls the notes on the DNR Electric Evo 6. We'll even strap you to the roof from time to time.
Big jump 130. Big jump 130, Richard. At the end of the 130, you've double caution, open square right. And 3. Good lad. Open square right, into square left. Square left right after here. 130. And right over big crest and jump, into bump and dip, 130 over jumps. Right over big crest and jump, bump and dip, 130 over jumps. Okay jump, 100. Okay jump, okay crest and jump, 100. And at the very end, Richard, you have double caution, 3 left over very big jump. Just watch this one. And jump, 40. 1 right, tight opens over jump. Jump and dip 100. Okay jump. 130 past junction. Unseen bump and dip.
Denis Biggerstaff is having a bad stage. A very bad stage. The Canallan driver is not comfortable with the car, or indeed over the jumps. And he drops 20 seconds to his championship rival in Slievenora. Redmond Mason now knows that the Group 1 title has already gone to Mark Woodside this year. So for Mark, it's a celebration drive, and his twin brother Simon and other brother Tim have come along to support him. We're not seeing the usual fireworks from Gary White and Michelle Cosworth today. But as always, Swervy Murphy is living up to his nickname. I will be saying goodbye to Raymond Johnson and Ivan Fisher shortly, due to mechanical problems. And Glen Allen's Smokey Cosworth will also not see the finish. But this has to be the weirdest retirement of them all. Jeremy Taylor, what are you doing? Chatting on your mobile phone, perhaps? To make matters worse, Jonathan Patterson now attempts to throw himself in front of Alan Stewart's Fiat.
The usually tranquil Glenariff Forest Park is a hive of activity as the cars return after each loop of the Toshiba Rally.
Oh, a 24-second lead, that's unbelievable after just 3 stages.
It is, I mean 12 miles, that is absolutely incredible, but what's really interesting is what's happening further on down with the championship points between Denis and Trevor.
Well now, you've been following Denis pretty closely and he made a bit of a mistake there in stage 2, so you better go and find out what he's doing and I'll go and see what Trevor's up to.
Okay.
Something in the transmission, it feels as if she's like 3-wheel drive or the back def's locked up, but I don't think it's time to fix anything, so we're just going to have to suffer on.
Trevor, you're pretty well ahead of your championship rival at the moment.
Yeah, Denis I think's having a wee bit of problem now, but all depends who's between us. You know, whether they're taking points off him or what. We don't honestly know who's between us at the minute.
It's time to move on as the Glenariff, Parkmore and Slievenora forests have to be faced for a second time. And we get a taster with the man who's shooting up the leaderboard, Eugene Donnelly. The Macará driver will leap from 5th to 2nd in the next 3 stages. Listen to the Kerry tones as Paul Nagel calls the notes on the KBB Doors Glenariff stage. Eugene's really flying. He's 3rd fastest in Parkmore, but in an effort to help his friend Glen Allen, he will damage the front of the BioClear car. But the big time and the big risks are being taken on Slievenora.
The jump, 100. Caution, 3 left over, very big jump. Into jump 40. Oh shit. 1 right opens over jump, into jump dip 100.
Well, that bravery brings rewards. Eugene is joint fastest with Trevor Moore on the 13-miler, but he has radiator problems.
On the way into service, the last service, Glen Allen ran out of fuel in front of me 2 miles down the road, and I helped them in here by pushing them in with the front of the car, and I done all the damage. That's what this sport is about.
But Eugene's is not the biggest story from stages 4, 5 and 6. Robert Woodside and Rory Kennedy leaped through Glenariff 24 seconds in the lead. On Parkmore they increase it by a further 6 seconds. But this is the last time we'll see the McKinstry Subaru, as just a mile up the road it will be ditched. And with it are ditched Robert's chances of taking 2 Toshiba Rallies in succession. We can see their demise from inside Denis Biggerstaff's car. And there's another escort in the ditch on the left. We have a new leader in Derek McGarrity and Dermot O'Gorman are proving that even a wounded WRC car can be highly effective. Donnelly, as we know, is now 2nd and only 6 seconds behind. And Trevor Moore and Richard Curry are as always trying their hearts out in 3rd place in their efforts to put space between themselves and Biggerstaff. Remember, they're joint fastest here on Slievenora. Eamon Boland has only a few loose surface rallies behind him, so he's doing well to stay in touch in 4th place. Stevie Whitford, who has sponsor Alan Graham on board, continues to be the sharpest of the Group N boys. And He's 17 seconds ahead of our camera carriers, Richard Hogg and Mark Hanna.
One left over crest and bump.
As you can see, there are casualties everywhere.
One left over crest and bump, 40. And caution, middle bad jump on 70.
And the new Northern Ireland Group N champions Mark Woodside and Malcolm Thompson are nearly another of them, as Charlie Butler's camera catches. And Raymond Mason, who's a former Group N champion, is just 1 second behind in the Subaru. Then it's Denis, who's now back in 9th place and furiously trying to calculate which of the runners between him and 3rd place Trevor are registered. John McEwen's kids sadly have little to dance about as their dad, a former Northern Ireland champion, is in trouble today and not figuring in the top 10. Barry Groundwater is having a bumpy ride on his first visit to the Antrim forests, but not as rough as Owen Lamont, who's been plagued with a brake problem all day. George Robinson, another veteran of the Mid-Antrim Motor Club's event, is also in trouble. And Charlie Butler's camcorder captures the moment again. Daddy Alan and daughter Helen are the only surviving members of the Thompson family at this stage.
Gary White arrives back at the park minus his steering.
I hit something, just like a big rock in the road, and it bent the steering arm. So I had to do that stage and the one after and drive back with the wheels just literally like that. It's cost me too much time, but we'll try and keep going, get a new steering arm and see how we go.
Willie Hunter's not going too well either. The Armagh driver crawls out of the Ballybowley stage ahead of Wilson McConkey and out of the rally. It's countdown time at the Toshiba Rally as we work our way back to Ballymena through the Brett Martin, Cappana and Ballybowley forests. The Scottish pair Barry Groundwater and Jude Kyle takes 15th on their first visit to the Toshiba. John Donnelly and Joe McAleese return to John's hometown in 14th place. Gary White and Barry Taggart's steering is now intact and they survive in lucky 13th. Brendan O'Hagan and Paul Hone are 12th in their Escort Cosworth. And then it's Maurice Gass and Jeffrey Orr in 11th place in Kenny McKinstry's 1999 Spec WRC Impreza.
Mark Woodside and Malcolm Thompson finish an excellent year as Group N champions and in 10th place on the Toshiba. Raymond Mason and Billy McCullens finish 1 place ahead of the pair that they followed home in the championship. And Denis Biggerstaff and Damien McCann nearly throw it all away on the very last stage. They were really lucky to survive that one, but has Denis done enough to take his 2nd Northern Ireland Rally title? The calculators are out. Richard Hogg and Mark Hanna slipped to 3rd in Group N in the closing stages. However, 7th overall is a good day's work in anybody's book. Mervyn Hill and Nigel McGee are the men who have snatched that place, and they're runners-up in Group N. And the Group N winners, Stevie Whitford and Alan Graham. It's a pity we do not see too much of Stevie's talent on the stages these days. Eamon Boland and Anthony Nestor bring the NVD Impreza home in 4th place. Trevor Moore and Richard Curry drive to 3rd. A great result by any standards amongst these World Rally cars, but is it enough to take the ME Crow title? It's a relieved Eugene Donnelly and Paul Nagel who reach Ballymena as runners-up. They've been watching the temperature gauge almost as much as the road during the final miles after the damage caused by their generosity to their rallying friends. Derek McGarrity and Dermot O'Gorman are also a relieved pair. Derek takes his 2nd Toshiba Rally win in a car that is far from perfect, but triumph has come to the Belfast driver after near disaster on the first stage. But who is the champion? The damage on Denis's Metro shows just how close he was to disaster. But when the sums are done, the 2001 ME Crow Northern Ireland Stages Championship goes to Denis Biggerstaff for the 2nd time. The outright winner on the day is, of course, clear-cut. For a man who's won, Derek, smile.
Oh no, I'm happy they've won, but just after the day we had, I'm shocked that we've won, let's say.
It was a heck of a day.
Yeah, well, we had a lot of problems with, fires and stuff on 3 stages, and, at 11 o'clock this morning I was sure we were going home. I didn't think we'd be here.
But here they are, and as Derek and Dermot spray the champagne, let's look back on the unforgettable moments in RPM in a very forgettable year of motorsport.
Rally champion, rallycross champion, hill climbs, sprints, autocrosses and hot rods. Denis has been tops of them all. Rory ran out the winner of the Peugeot Super 106 Cup and put the Billy Coleman Scholarship to excellent use to gain a wet Peugeot drive in the 2002 British Rally Championship. Seamus Burke was runner-up in the American Rally Championship. Jonathan followed in his father's footsteps on the racetracks to become top of the tin tops and the Dunlop RT2000 champion. Evans the Park, they were calling him after the See It party in Lurgan. Excuse me? But it was Brian who came through at the end to take the last of the Yokohama Uno series. Andrew was quickest over the jumps at Punchestown. And JJ fastest round the pylons north and south, and at the Toyota Super Test Day. Richard rented an Escort and ran away with the lark in the park. Gorgeous George beat all the boys to win the Ford of Ireland Z-Tech Championship. Kenny was king at Knockhill in June and led the Irish to the Nations Cup in September. Austin was fastest on the flat at Limerick Racecourse. Brian had yet another hearty advantage in Formula V. And Ian lapped up the stages in Luxembourg when he wrapped up the European Rally Round. Gary Turkett and Stephen Kane also took racing titles in England, and Derek Hayes, Matthew Gilmore, Michael Keohane, Adam Carroll, Damien Faulkner and Richard Lyons were often at the front in the UK and much further afield. And the best event of the year at home, well, it had to be Ronan Morgan's World Rally Masters at Punchestown.